shooter this summer.
All right, start of the Saturday morning, we had to come get some pieces to put together this aerator, replace some screws that were lost in shipping, and at everybody's favorite place, Lowe's. So we'll gonna try and get this thing together and in the water this morning. Okay, so we're assembling the McGrew Aerator, putting the legs on. Had to go out this morning. As you saw, we made a trip to Lowe's. Had to replace a couple of the screws, the stainless screws that were missing because the box was so damaged. The screws must have fallen out in shipping. So Isaac's putting the plug on, I'm putting the legs on, and then we're gonna attach the PVC pipe. We'll show it to you in a second when we get it all together, and then we'll go put it in the pond and see if it works. Okay, after a morning out getting some parts and running a few errands, we came back. As you saw, we just assembled this McGrew Aerator and wanted to give some initial thoughts and impressions before we go put it out into the pond. One thing that probably Henry McGrew and maybe viewers don't know, my background is in design, graphic design and environmental or product design. Took a number of, well, a lot of classes and ended up double majoring in art and design. But so I have some sense of really looking at products and critiquing, thinking about them. Won't go into a lot of detail, but since this is Henry's second prototype of this pump and he sent it to me for review, I figure I'll give some feedback, my impressions of it. So as you saw, this that came the other day with the legs disassembled and we had a fitting. So all we had to do was, and I put Teflon tape on here. Henry didn't include that specific of instructions. I don't know that it needs to be that airtight. I don't think that it does, as I understand how this will work. But I put some on there anyways, solvent, and put in a 3/4 inch PVC pipe. Then this part is the actual pump. It's a sump pump, what would be a sump pump. So normally in installation it would sit this way, and the bottom, the impeller, would sit down in the water, and with this float switch, if water got into a place, it would pump water out. What he has done is turned this upside down. The stainless steel body seems pretty heavy duty, and then attached this grate or a plate that has been welded with a threaded fitting on here and then cut slots in it. Obviously, I don't think that when he sends this out as a product, this will probably be much cleaner, but since it's a prototype, I mean, I just will say, Henry, obviously clean up all these edges. They're a little sharp and kind of jagged. So as I understand how I think this thing is going to work, is that by having this impeller here spinning, which is going to push water away, and as it does that, it's going to start pulling air down this tube, because the PVC pipe will sit just above the surface of the water, so it will start pulling air down into the tube. There will be suction created by the water going out, and eventually, once that air gets down here, it'll displace and throw bubbles out and rise up to the surface. So we'll see. I think that's how this will work. We ran it, tested it. I'll plug it in just a second to show you. But I could, even just sitting out in the air, out here without the water moving, you could feel a slight suction at the top of the tube. So it does have a float switch on it. This will be certainly function because it's sitting at the bottom of a pond. So this will float up and turn the aerator on. It came disassembled with these legs, and this is what we needed to go out and get this morning. When the box came, it had a number of holes in it. It had been pretty badly damaged. We lost the screws, and well, there was a nut in there. One of the recommendations via email that I made to Henry was to replace the basic nuts with lock nuts, because as I think just over time, this thing, you want to put it out there and forget about it. And I would just think that with a motor over time, the slight vibration, these things might work their way loose. It would fall over something and you would lose those feet. So I put stainless screws and lock washers on here. That'd be my only other concern that I have is the feet, these feet that came with it. Stainless steel, really simple. They're as sturdy as I think they need to be. One suggestion I might make, Henry, is just sort of thinking, I don't know that it'd be a huge issue, is to change the angle and maybe make the angle a little wider to give it a sort of more spread out footprint to make it a little bit more stable. And the last thing is, I'm pretty concerned about these feet, as small as they are. I would think that probably a bigger plate on the bottom of these to give it a larger footprint would be a good idea, because I'm imagining that the pond, I know that at the bottom of our pond there's soft clay and then there's a fair amount of silt down there. So I think these things are just going to cut right through this and end up having that silt or the bottom of the pond right up to, I'm guessing it'll probably get down, you know, where this is going to end up maybe bottoming out almost in the bottom of the pond of the clay. And hopefully that silt and stuff doesn't get up here where these openings are, where it needs to throw water out. So that would be my one suggestion, is I just think those feet are probably too small. Isaac did the electrical work, got a plug on, so let's go ahead and plug this in and lift up the switch, and there you go. It's running. Very quiet pump, not that it's going to matter, it'll be out in the middle of the pond underwater, but it runs. It seems very, very smooth. Again, pretty heavy duty, and you can, you know, it's certainly throwing out some air, which I guess it's going to do with the water. So that's it. This is the McGrew Aerator that Henry sent us, and you can see that he's wastewater products out of Louisiana. He's down in Louisiana and does aerators, pumps, and other supplies. Not getting compensated for this, I should say again. He just sent me the aerator to look at, a prototype, and I'm happy to do that. So we're going to get the canoe and run this thing as far out. It supplied a lot of electrical lines, so we're going to run it as far out and deep into the pond as we can go and not clear the top of the pipe. And we'll film that and we'll see how this thing works. Okay, Isaac is my my oarman. All right, slow down. Slow down. Heading out. All right, we are about as far out as we're going to get, which is almost the same distance as our other aerator is from the shore. I didn't check how long that was. Isaac, I'm going to hand you the phone. And then here we go. We'll see how this thing works in just a second. Hopefully we're long enough. Whoa. Pretty loud. From the canoe review. So we got it in the ground, into the pond. I mean, it's definitely not as stable. I mean, I think it would be fine, but I again think that probably having, see if I can get us back over there, having us fighting the wind, having us the legs farther apart with larger, wider feet would definitely be good, because it just doesn't feel super stable. I think you can see it's throwing up. Isaac, you can lean up, I don't know if you can see. It's throwing up a fair amount of very small bubbles, which is great. That's what you want, is the really fine bubbles, the small ones, not big ones. But it's loud. Even we canoed a little bit farther over, and it's pulling a lot of air, but it's just making a lot of noise. So, Henry, I think I would look into, or see if you could figure out some kind of a muffler system, maybe some kind of a coarse foam with a top on it that you could put on there that would diffuse that sound, not make it so bad as it's pulling down in there. All right, let's go over and look at our other aerator. Okay, this is our aerator that's running off the high blow, that HP 100LL. I ended up taking one of the diffusers off the end of the hose, because in the bottom of the pond, I just think the muck and the goo that was down there was a problem. We were just not seeing as many bubbles coming out of it. I was a little concerned about the resistance and the pressure on the aerator and just what that would do to the life of it. So I took the diffuser off of one hose, and it's just blowing air. And you probably can't see it, but on the other side of the aerator we just put in is the other hose going out that still has a diffuser in it, and it's putting out more fine bubbles. But you can see the aerator, the McGrew Aerator we just stuck in right there, and what, at least on the surface, it is doing. Don't know if you can hear it, but it's definitely noticeable, the sound. So that would be something that might bother some people. I don't know. I mean, it's a white noise, if you can hear it, that's it. So that's the McGrew Aerator that Henry sent to us. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and thanks again, even more new subscribers. We'll see you in the next video. God bless. One last little video from the pond. So over there is the open hose from our high blow compressor. That's the McGrew Aerator. You can see it's really distributing little bubbles pretty far and wide. I mean, you can see how far the bubbles are being spread out from that aerator, but you can really see how many are coming from the McGrew Aerator. And then over there is our other line that has a diffuser still left on the end of it and not throwing out quite as many bubbles there. So we're getting from the high blow 2 areas of diffusion, very quiet, no noise, and this is what you have with the McGrew Aerator. Now, one thing that I can definitely say would probably be, you guys are going to just make noise, aren't you? Yes. So one thing with this that I can say that would be an issue with the high blow and wouldn't be with this, I don't think the depth is going to matter with the McGrew Aerator. So if you have a deep water application that you need in an aerator, this thing will work just fine, because you just add enough PVC pipe up to the top of the water, and the pressure, I don't believe, is going to be an issue. So that's a good thing about this aerator. All right, that's it.